we welcome you back to our special expanded coverage of the police ambush in Dallas, Texas. We've been following this story all day. Of course, Miranda Khan is now joining us from our newsroom with the latest updates. Miranda.
John, as you know, both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton canceled campaign events in light of the deadly shooting in Dallas. While both presidential nominees have expressed their condolences on social media, presumptive Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton decided to do something that is, well, it's pretty rare for her, an on-camera interview. Here she is just a short time ago.
This is deeply troubling, and it should worry every single American. You know, we've got to do much more to listen to one another, respect each other.
Clinton also called for more gun control after the deadly shooting, echoing the same sentiment shared by both President Obama and U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch today during their news conferences.
We also know that when people are armed with powerful weapons, unfortunately, it makes attacks like these more deadly and more tragic.
And we must take a hard look at the ease with which wrongdoers can get their hands on deadly weapons and the frequency with which they use them.
And while Democrats are calling for more gun control, Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick appears to be pointing the finger at protesters.
All those protesters last night, they ran the other way, expecting the men and women in blue to turn around and protect them. What hypocrites!
Now, sources say investigators have ruled out any connection to terrorist organization when it comes to this shooting in Dallas. We do want to mention that CBS is reporting that the Dallas shooting suspect was wearing body armor and did have a semi-automatic assault rifle as well as a handgun. Again, according to CBS News. That's the very latest information from the newsroom. We'll, of course, bring you more developments as soon as we get them. John, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Miranda. The Associated Press also reporting that as well. Micah Johnson apparently had ballistic material in his house, bulletproof vests, rifles, ammunition, and a personal journal of combat tactics. Police found that in his home. All right, right now we want to welcome in Kate Delaney. She is a radio host of America Tonight, which is based in Dallas, Texas. We'll have J.D. Hayworth and Steve Malzberg join us in just a second as well. Kate, it's good to have you with us. Our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone in Dallas. I know it's been very difficult. Just give us a sense today on the mindset of the Metroplex.
Well, I got to tell you, John, the heavy hearts today. There's no question about it. It seems as though Dallas, for such a long time, was known as the city where a president was assassinated. And I live probably 15 minutes from the grassy knoll, and you constantly see tourists there, and they're out there. And there's sort of been a switch from that. But unfortunately, because of Micah Johnson and what happened last night after a peaceful protest, now I think the concern in Dallas is, wow, is this a place that is anti-black? Is this a place that's ground zero for racial tensions? And the police department, and of course the police chief Brown, who I know, they've worked very hard on trying to solve that conundrum and get the community together. So it's a very, very sad day for the people of Dallas.
Yeah, certainly. And you could sense that emotion coming from Chief Brown there in Dallas. Kate, I want to welcome in J.D. and Steve Malzberg now, and I don't know who wants to go first. J.D., if you want to ask Kate a question.
Well, I think the obvious question, Kate, and we thank you for your time tonight, and you talk about this being a period of introspection in Dallas, and you asked this, so I just want to put the question squarely to you. In your mind, is Dallas, quote, anti-black?
Personally, I don't think that, JD. I mean, I've lived in a lot of different places, and I've lived in Dallas now for the last 15 years, and I don't get that sense. I really feel, and I have been around community leaders, I have worked with a lot of people in the community, and I have a sense, to me, that Dallas is not that kind of city, and I think that's why the city is being ripped apart by what happened to those officers. I mean, the most tragic day, the biggest loss of life since 9/11 as far as police officers, law enforcement is concerned. And I was there listening and watching the statistics come down, and every time another police officer, another one had died, you could just see the grim faces and the tears, and it's just terrible. So no, I don't feel that.
All right, Steve, do you have any questions for Kate?
Yeah. Could I ask you, Kate, was the parade route posted in advance on social media, or who had access to the parade route in advance?
Yeah, that's a great question, Steve. It was, in fact, all over social media because, as you know, around the country there were several rallies, and the idea was to get a lot of people there and to have a big rally and to have a lot of people participate. So hours and hours before it was announced, it was all over Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Anybody would have had access to that.
It's just hard to believe.
And I've heard reports, we've teetered between one shooter and two. When I was driving in, I heard another Dallas talk show host say that his sources within the Dallas Police Department say that they're once again looking at the possibility of two shooters. What's the status of those three uncooperative suspects that I find strange that they'd be uncooperative if they weren't involved?
Yeah, I agree with you that why wouldn't they participate? Why wouldn't they want to clear their name? But that status is still the same. I have good sources as well. And supposedly there is one more shooter connected to Micah Johnson, but there is these three suspects, one of them believed to be that person. And the two others are just part of this and have not been cleared. There's been nothing. I mean, they're so tight-lipped. Mayor Rawlings is saying nothing.
So you're saying there's another shooter, that they believe there is another shooter. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, they're saying that they think there may be another shooter.
Wow.
That's what my source told me. Yeah, and it's odd because all of the information that's been released is that it was one guy. It was Micah Johnson, and then, as you know, his life ended when he was killed by the robot bomb after they tried to negotiate with him. So I don't know if that's just false information and rumors that's running around the department, because in talking to police officers, that's what they're talking about.
Wow. Well, Kate, thanks for being with us. We appreciate your time, and our thoughts, of course, are with everyone in Dallas. Thanks for being with us.
Absolutely.
Steve and JD, Kate talked about this. Dallas is anti-black. I think in this day and age, there are no anti-black cities in this country. There are certainly elements of racism everywhere in this country.
Well, I wanted to nail that down with Kate because as she was ruminating there, the danger is. And we saw this, and the people of Dallas understand this full well.
Anywhere.
Well, it could happen anywhere, but Dallas especially, with the scars of what transpired on that fateful day in November of 1963, Dallas has had an association that the city fathers have been concerned for many years. And so when Kate was saying, this is not to be critical of Kate, I just wanted to nail it down, this introspection. I don't believe Dallas to be anti-black. You take a look at the fact there is a black police chief there, and I think this is part and parcel. The days of restricting constitutional rights to Americans based on the color of their skin, those days are gone.
And Steve, the point I wanted to make too is that there were protests in New York last night. There were protests in Atlanta. There were protests all over this country. Anybody, I'm sure those parade routes, as Kate talked about, were posted on social media sites. This could have happened anywhere.
Well, that's got to stop. I mean, they could. The police have to, maybe change routes once the group organizes at a certain place, and not let the public know where those routes will take them, because obviously you don't want to give anybody an opportunity. But I don't even know why are we asking the question, is Dallas racist? I'm not sure why we're asking that.
We don't really ask.
When I heard Kate and she was throwing out those questions, I just wanted to nail it down. If that in fact is permeating the mindset somewhere, I just wanted to put that to bed, which she did. So that was the reason for the question, as I asked it of her as she was going through those ruminations and the introspection for the city.
I think we all should take there's been a lot, I know I've been guilty of this today, thinking out loud, and you say these things, and it goes back to the governor of Minnesota making that comment about this would not have happened had they been a white couple. These things pop in your head. You don't have to say everything that comes in.
Well, the difference is Mark Dayton knew exactly what he was saying yesterday, and the incendiary nature of the language, and that is the tragedy of the left. And Steve, we've seen this for how long now? 7.5 years. Never let a crisis go to waste if it can further the aims of the political left.
I mean, he should be impeached. Can you imagine if Donald Trump had said something, and I don't even know about who. I don't have time to think in my brain right now. And then something happened. The way, and I'm not saying he's directly responsible at all, but the way Obama did at 1 in the morning in Poland and the way the governor did yesterday, I mean, forget that's all we'd be talking about is Donald Trump's responsible. Or if Rush Limbaugh, remember they tried to pin the shooting of Gabby Giffords on Rush Limbaugh. It's always the right's fault. It's never the left's fault with their rhetoric and their racial divisiveness.
At least for a day, we can all agree that there's only one person, or maybe 4 people, who are at fault right now for this tragedy, and we should focus on that. Steve, JD, gentlemen, thanks for being with us. We'll look forward to your shows. JD will be with us at 8 o'clock. Steve Malzberg coming up at 7 p.m. Good to have you with us. I got much more to come, and our special coverage continues after this.
Assist officer, shots fired. Okay, code 3, stay off the radio, officer down. Shots fired, officer down, it's an assist officer. Hold on, family, show me route. Code 3, Market and Lamar. Code 3, Market and Lamar, shots fired. Saying the suspect has a rifle. He's got a rifle, put us on this call.